thinking of wondering if we should get a room here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
And then I saw that you decided to stay. But you're gone. Oh, that's right, I did.
isn't it great?
So it's just the one couple.
Yes. So I have one song then for two moms, groom's mom and bride's mom, and the groom's mom. And then switch it over once the groomsmen get, switch it over for the bridesmaids.
Okay.
Hi, this is Julie. And you girls can make your way over to the cages and get lined up and I'll
How are you?
Fine. How are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Good. Good. You look well.
There was a minor checkbook emergency. That's what we were trying to.
Oh, was it?
You could bring it, but then she decided she was going to go back. A little something on your face.
Ian, can we grab you for 2 seconds to get a mic on you? This is Blaine.
And how's it going? Yeah, you too. You too. There you go. Nice. So yeah, we're gonna get this mic on. Is there?
Don't worry, you're not getting married.
Hi.
He's really trying. He's begging me.
What's that, Linz?
Yeah, when you come down, so you can. Excellent. Yeah, that's where I was also. But it takes like a good 10 minutes.
They're behind me, right?
Or you can get snapped.
It's good to be in the back row then.
Friends, we are here today to celebrate with Ian and Jyoti as they unite from spiritual beginnings. From an inner state of a conscious unity of faith, love, purpose, plan, and action, there comes a corresponding outer state, making the outer like the inner, peaceful and harmonious. Will you both bring into this new life the best that you have in you? And who offers this bride in marriage?
Your mother and I.
Thank you. You may be seated. Beautiful. Friends, you may all be seated. Hold close with open hands. Love one another, but make not a bond of that love. Let it be a moving sea between the shores of your soul. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. To love is to follow the rainbow through the rain, to be able to laugh at ourselves and be willing to say, I was wrong, I'm sorry. It is to forgive, and more importantly, to forget, to always believe and trust one another. To love is to constantly search for new ways to bring the other happiness. See your marriage like being a beautiful garden. It is not subject to chance. Its beauty is in the flowering of the seeds that you plant and nurture in it. Therefore, plant trust, harmony, and understanding. Nurture faith and confidence through your faith in God. Live secure in the knowledge that you two have been drawn together by the greatest power there is. In love, you have come from the pathways of your past to move forward, hand in hand along the uncharted roads of your future. Be ready to risk, to dream, to dare, forever believing that all things are possible through faith and love. In making your promises, let us know that the estate of wedlock is a holy one to be entered into under the guidance of God's infinite wisdom and divine love. To be my lawfully wedded wife.
I hear Jyoti. My lawfully wedded wife.
To have and to hold.
Have to hold.
For better or for worse.
For better or for worse.
For richer or for poorer.
For richer or for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
Sickness and in health.
to love, honor, and cherish
love, honor, and cherish
from this day forward
from this day forward
until death do us part.
until death do us part.
I, Jyoti, take you, Ian, to be my lawfully wedded husband.
I, Jyoti, take you, Ian, to be my lawfully wedded husband.
To have and to hold,
To have and to hold,
for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
for richer or for poorer,
for richer or for poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love, honor, and cherish
to love, honor, and cherish
from this day forward
from this day forward
until death do us part.
until death do us part.
May I have the rings? These rings, by their shapes, are a symbol of eternity without beginning and without end. They are emblems of the unending flow of love that you share. As I bless these rings, let your minds and hearts be pure and free. Ian, as you place this ring on the third finger of Jyoti's left hand, will you repeat after me? With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
And with it bestow upon thee
And with it bestow upon thee
all the treasures of my mind,
all the treasures of my mind,
my heart, and my hand.
my heart, and my hand.
Jyoti, as you place this ring on the third finger of Ian's left hand, please repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
This ring, I be wed.
And with it I bestow upon thee
With it I bestow upon thee
all the treasures
all the treasures of my mind,
I love you, not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you, not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out. I love you for putting your hand into my heaped up heart and passing over all the foolish, weak things that you can't help dimly seeing there, and for drawing out into the light all the beautiful belongings that no one else had looked quite far enough to find. I love you because you are helping me to make of the lumber of my life not a tavern, but a temple. Out of the works of my everyday, not a reproach, but a song. I love you because you have done more than any creed could have done to make me good, and more than any fate could have done to make me happy. You have done it without a touch, without a word, without a sign. You have done it by being yourself. Perhaps that is what being a friend means after all.
Let us pray. And in awareness of God's life and love, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Ian, you may kiss your bride. It is my pleasure to present to you the Doctor's McGregor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We are going to do a group picture right here, so if you just kind of face back.
Yeah, just take the machine.
Yeah.
Do you need it now? No.
Just bring it back for later.
Yeah, back later. Then she could at least just see it on there.
Look how pretty Meg looks.
Oh, she's just like crying. It's just... X-wise.
Parents. About to introduce the father of the bride this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Charles Bowman. Charles.
I have notes. Jyoti told me, gave me instructions that I had to keep this under an hour. So I'll try to be on time. I really would like to thank you all for coming, because I know some of you came great distances, and I'm sure that Ian and Jyoti really do appreciate it, as do I, and Allison, and everyone involved in this, especially the groomsmen and the bridesmaids. I'm sure they went to great expense to do this, so thank you all. It's nice to have a nice group to speak to, and that isn't always the case sometimes. I had to give a lecture, a medical lecture one time, and not always well attended. And there was only one person in the audience, so I waited 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and no one else came. And I said, well, why don't we go get a cup of coffee? It looks like no one else is coming. And he said, no, I'd like to hear your presentation. So I went through my slides. I spent an hour, went through all the slides. And I finished, and after I finished, there was this tremendous applause by him. He stood up, gave me a standing ovation. It was very embarrassing. So I started to put my slides away, and he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm getting ready to leave. He said, you can't leave now. I said, why not? He says, because I'm the next speaker. I was really blessed with 3 great kids, son and 2 daughters, and Jyoti happens to be the last of them, or the youngest anyway. And Ian is a wonderful gentleman, a great character. I know he has great character because very traditional values are very important to me. And he was kind enough to come and ask me for Jyoti's hand in marriage. So I said no. And as a testament to his character, he persisted. And then I became convinced when he and Greg allowed Margaret and me to become in tennis. So he knew he was a man of great character. However, if I knew he was going to get married in a dress, I might have changed. I'm just sort of glad he made it through the whole thing. Jyoti always wanted someone to marry someone tall. And unfortunately, she had to settle for Ian. the family that he brings with him, I'm amazed how great they are, and I say that sincerely. Even all the relatives have come up and introduced themselves, and it's been very, very special. And I would like to take most of the credit for raising my kids, including Jyoti and even Ian, because he was a mess before he met me. But seriously, Allison did a tremendous job with Jyoti, and Dave and Margaret are a joy, and they did a tremendous job with you. Include them in our family. And I get to give some advice because I'm old, so I'm allowed to do that. And I guess several things I'd like to say. One is to them, start the day with love, fill the day with love, and end the day with love. This is the way to God. And I started out studying spiritual things at a younger age, and I was interested in what Ram Dass said, who happened to be a professor of philosophy, I believe, at Harvard. And he went to India, and he studied under a guru, and he realized that this guru knew everything there was to know. And consequently, he asked him many questions. He lived there for 2 years. And he would ask him any question that he wanted to do, and he would get an answer, how do I do this? And he would say, love everyone. And he'd ask him another question, and he'd say, serve everyone. And then he'd ask him another question, and he'd say, remember God. And he said he was there for 2 years. He said of the thousands of questions he asked, he realized he had only gotten 3 answers. Love everyone, serve everyone, remember God. There'll be bad times, of course, and you have to remember that joy is an interval between 2 griefs, and grief is an interval between 2 joys, and it's all passing clouds, and everything passes, so just hang in there. And the other thing, the last thing is, I think, to me, the Hindus believe in various things here. The Hindus believe that this is the Kali Yuga, which is the age of evil, which there are 4 yugas, and this is the worst one. The good news is you really don't have to do very much in this age to advance. So all you need to do is remember the name of God. And I would like to have us raise our glasses and toast to Dr. and Mrs. Ian and Jyoti McGregor, the doctors. Cheers.
Ian. Jyoti is a multi-talented person. I'm sure many people here know that already. One of her many talents is attracting the right people into her life. Once you meet Jyoti, you are under her unique spell, and there's no going back. I am an example of this. I first met Jyoti when we were seniors in high school. We were both applying to college at Stanford, and we went to some drama auditions at the theater at Stanford. I was very nervous, and before doing my audition, I went into the ladies' room to try to calm down. And there was this little petite brunette sitting in the corner, freaking out because someone had told her that she was able to do a cold reading at this audition with a script, when in fact she'd gotten there and was told that she had to have a whole speech memorized. And so there she was, trying to memorize the speech that she knew best, which was Puck from Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream. And she was hunched in the corner, madly reciting Shakespeare. And I thought, who is this person? But I felt sorry for her because she looked very anxious. And I asked if I could help, and apparently no one else had offered to run lines with her. And so there we sat in the bathroom at the theater at Stanford, two very nervous high school students running lines from Shakespeare. And she went out and was Jyoti and gave an absolutely brilliant performance. And no one would have guessed that she'd been nervous behind the scenes. And we'd had a lovely conversation, and I figured I would never see her again. And the months passed, and I arrived at Stanford on my first day of college to move into my freshman dorm. And I was in the minivan with my parents and my boxes of stuff, very nervous about who I was going to meet. And we slid open the door of the minivan, stepped out onto the sidewalk, and who was the very first person I saw? But Jyoti, standing on the sidewalk. It turned out that we'd been assigned rooms in our freshman dorm right across the hall from each other. And we've been best friends ever since. And she was my roommate for 4 years in college, my travel companion for many, many adventures, which would take all night to describe. Many other wonderful things. Now, Jyoti is incredibly beautiful, as I'm sure is very evident tonight to everyone. Doesn't she look lovely? She is charismatic and talented. I quickly learned that freshman year of college that before we'd even gotten to college, in addition to all of her school subjects earning A's, she had mastered classical ballet, become an excellent equestrian horse rider, and of course now she's also mastered that little thing called surgery. And I remember thinking, who is this girl? What has she not done? What can she not do? But the amazing thing about Jyoti is that at the same time, she is incredibly generous and kind, a loyal friend, very hardworking. She's silly. She can laugh at herself. And it just makes her incredibly unique and lovable. Now, I told you that Jyoti has a talent for attracting special people into her life. Let me tell you a little bit about how she brought Ian under her spell. Jyoti was working in a hospital in Phoenix, and I remember many conversations where we would sort of lament, oh, all I do is study and go to work and go home to go to sleep at night. It's a difficult schedule. I'm working so hard. I'm always exhausted. How am I ever going to meet the right guy? I never go anywhere except the hospital. And I would joke, I would say, Jyoti, it's obvious. You have to meet someone at the hospital. That's the only place you ever go. It's very clear. And she would say, no, there's no one there. You don't understand. And I said, well, you just never know. And then one day, out of the blue, this handsome, wonderful, kind man seemed to drop in out of the sky into Jyoti's life, into her hospital in Phoenix. And suddenly, I had many enthusiastic phone calls. There was a period of uncertainty about whether Jyoti and Ian would get together. I think she was concerned about whether it was wise to become close to a colleague. And we talked about what would happen if they began dating while they were colleagues. And I remember saying, well, it's a little risky, Jyoti. It's either going to turn out really badly or really well. And I think it's safe to say, as we look around the scene tonight, it turned out really well. You were wise to jump right in, both of you. Well, you heard me speak about meeting Jyoti at a theater audition at school, back in school days. It may come as a shock to some of you here that Jyoti is occasionally known to be a bit dramatic. Ian has the most wonderful, calm, strong, kind demeanor, and it's been such a joy to watch the way they balance and blend together and how happy they clearly make each other. I'm going to give Ian 2 very quick pieces of advice about how to make Jyoti happy in life. It's really quite simple. There are 2 things that she needs to be happy. Are you listening? They are. Number 1, food. Number 2, fashion. Okay? Now, Jyoti is quite the gourmet. Let me give you a shopping list of what you need to have in your kitchen, in your house at all times in order to keep Jyoti happy. Malto meal, Slim Fast, lots of Diet Coke, power bars, ice cream, and fruit. These are the things that Jyoti needs on a daily basis. She also really loves fashion. Now, Ian, the poor girl has to wear scrubs more than half her life. Let's make sure that in those times that she's not in scrubs, she's well-heeled. And just as an example, I'm not sure if everyone has appreciated the lovely footwear that Jyoti is sporting today. This is a girl who's chosen not 1, not 2, but 3 different pairs of shoes for her wedding day. And they are all beautiful and appropriate to different venues. We had the grass shoes, fancy shoes, and the dance shoes are still coming, so be sure that you see those as well. They're beautiful. So food and fashion, you've got that. You know, as I was thinking about my friendship with Jyoti and all the twists and turns and adventures we've had together, I just couldn't help but go back to all the many, many, many nights that we sat up late talking about boys, wondering what our futures might hold and who we might fall in love with and marry. And suddenly, in what feels like the blink of an eye to me, here we are. And we know who you fell in love with and married. And it's just so wonderful to see you so happy. And I want to thank Ian personally and on behalf of all of the friends and family who love Jyoti for making her so happy. And so in closing, I want to invite all of you to just pause for a moment and savor this beautiful moment in which 2 people who we love so much are so happy. This is one of the most lovely moments in life, these shimmering moments when we're all together and celebrating something so beautiful. Let's raise our glasses to Ian and Jyoti.
When we met all those years ago, when I met your pals in St. George and all your crazy friends, is just how much people who know you and how incredibly blessed they hold you to their heart. And you're an incredible guy and you're loved by so many people. So on that note, this is actually very tense. What can I tell you of Ian McGregor that you don't already know? This handsome, fresh-faced fella whose repute is pure as snow. I met Ian in '94. It was a day unlike any other. I just joined Beta Theta Pi, and Ian became my big brother. He was supposed to show me the ways of the world, the essentials of being a man, like chasing after sorority girls and shotgunning beers from a can. At least he got one of those right. He really did not hurry to finish his degree. For 7 years he sampled subjects. School was his buffet. Science and psych were not to his taste, but anatomy proved his forte. Well, he finished with honors and said to the world, "Watch me climb higher and greater." And so he purchased a shirt and a tie and became a very good waiter. But the glamorous flinging bellinis faded and quickly turned hollow. My father's a great man of medicine, he said, and in his footsteps I'll follow. So on to Grenada, to New York, and finally to Arizona.
Put down.
Where after years of medical school, Ian debuted his new persona. With his white coat and stethoscope, Ian fancied himself quite the score. The nurses would flutter and faint as he passed, but to most he just showed them the door. Then one fateful day, across a crowded ER, Ian spotted a pretty young thing, with sparkling eyes and kissable lips, and on her finger, no ring. Towards her he strode with no sense of fear, as he strapped on a long latex glove. "Hello," he said, "we haven't met. My name is Dr. Love." My name is Josie, came the reply, as sweet and pure as a virgin. I hope you can handle your woman on top, because you're talking to a surgeon. Okay, so maybe that's not exactly how our lovebirds came to be. Ian needed a place to live, and the price was right with Jyoti. So he packed his bags and gathered his things, and sure enough, he moved in. And shortly thereafter, it can't be denied that our lovebirds were living in sin. So to Ian, I say you were lucky, for you found yourself a great gal who'll bring joy not only as your wife, but also as your best pal. And to Jyoti, I say you were lucky, for you found the best man I know. He's loyal, he's kind, and he's honest, and there's no length to which he won't go. His friends from St. George and his family, and everyone in this room, are happy and honored to raise their glass to toast Ian, our friend.
All through that time, I basically thought to myself, I've had many great days in my life. And none of them involve public speaking, especially about my feelings, and especially following that. So, bear with me, I'll keep it brief. My first duty tonight is to say thank you so much to everyone for being here. Blessing to be surrounded by so many friends and family. We're thrilled with the evening and what we've gone so far. We also need to recognize a couple of people because I know everyone, as Charles said, has traveled far and wide, but I did want to mention Joyce and Alex, who have both joined us from the UK, so they get a special word. So. I also want to thank Michelle and all the staff here at the Beach and Tennis Club. There's the beautiful setting and everything's been superb.
Yeah, I know.